Welcome to Simple Conversation with ASG.
You mentioned at the beginning that you've been married for, am I right in saying 20 years?
23, 24.
23, which is
Yeah, this year will be 24.
that's quite an achievement, especially in today's climate. But something I wanted to ask was how, like, have you got any standout guidelines for maintaining a relationship for so long? Because you can see now in current trends that long-term relationships are really falling down a hole. Like there's only there's it's compared to how many relationships there are in the world in general. There's only a handful that are long-term now.
Yeah. So I'm a Christian. My wife, we both are Christian. And when we decided to marry, for us, it was for life until death us part. So that's the first point. The other one is we had our difficulties. There were periods where it was very tough for both of us. And but there was never the thought of let's split up and find another partner in crime and go our different ways. Um, Working through these hard and challenging times is not easy. It never is and never will be. And everyone who's in a long-lasting marriage, they experienced this in some sort. So um, for us, it's communication um, and listening to each other. It's I also think that you won't find something mm, heroic or something mind-blowing as a recipe for a long-lasting marriage. It's always the basics, because when the foundation is weak, no matter what you build on top, it will eventually it will break down.
I think that's the perfect point you made, was continuing to build on it, because there's a lot of people that I see all the time that they kind of bounce in and out of short-term relationships when things get difficult or things get hard. But the reason that they are hitting those walls is because they've got into a relationship and they've thought, this is it, this is all we need to do now. We just need to stay with each other forever, and they don't realize that you do need to still grow as you're in a relationship. You need to grow differently to how you were when you were single, but there is a growth period that still should be involved in your life, especially with a relationship. And it's hard to say what could be the root for the whole. As I mentioned earlier, that long-term relationships are kind of becoming extinct to the public eye, because the opinion now on attraction has been very swayed. It
Yeah.
used to be you do go for someone that's quite similar, as you said, that you've seen that your wife's got the same faith as you and the same values. But it seems now that people want something of value and they don't actually want a person's values.
Yeah, in today's society, it's mostly about short-term pleasures, open relationships, and so on. Um, I guess that's also part of the reason that when you're growing up and you start a relationship, at one point it gets maybe a bit tough. Then you split up, begin a new one, and when it's getting there tough, you split up again. And I think this vicious cycle continues until you start to work on yourself first. I've heard a
Yeah,
funny, I've heard a funny sentence. Uh, um, at least it was funny to us. If you want to change a person, marry one. So
I just
it,
I I heard it in my head, and I was like, I don't understand. And then I started to see examples of what you mean, and I understood then.
Yeah, it's impossible. The only person that can change is you.
Yeah.
So if both work on themselves, then only then you can accomplish each other's needs and pick the other partner up when they fall down, and so on and so on and so on. Um, it's a golden coin, and one side is you, and the other side is your partner. So yeah, without working with if both don't work on themselves and what they want to achieve as a couple in the family, then it's really tough.
Has there been any advice or wisdom you'd give to your sons that are growing towards that stage where they will be getting involved in relationships and things like that? Has there been any advice or wisdom you'd give them on, you know, looking for the right things and not being blinded by things that over a long period of time won't really matter in the grand scheme of things?
Um, a funny thing I say to them is that um, if you like to eat meat, you can't marry a vegan. Never, it never works out.
There's many analogies that can be made from that statement.
So it's a bit fun, a funny sentence or funny advice, but there is a lot of truth to it, especially when you, like you've said, you see different examples with the same connotation, so to speak. Um, and yeah, but in general, we have some good books in our library, and if they would like to um, develop a deeper relationship with a girl, we would definitely suggest them to read something. And if they have questions, they can always come to us.